New Orleans is a city full of history, some good, some bad. Some of the history is talked about, some isn't. And when I was going on the internet today, I found one very interesting article on a particular mansion in the French Quarter that not a lot of people know about because it's not really advertised, except in ghost tours. A lot of people don't believe in ghosts, and that's understandable, but this particular event it's worth reading about. I found it on a website about historic preservation, and the title was Haunted LaLaurie Mansion. Now, it caught my eye because, I don't know, I've kind of always been into ghosts, but this one is kind of a story that's just really sad, and it almost just makes the reader want to keep going and figure out what happened. So I looked into it, and there's little bits and pieces on each website that I found about the mansion. Yet, there's one thing that caught my eye, and that was massacre. So apparently, back in the 1800s, the LaLaurie Mansion was owned by two very well-to-do individuals, and they were very high social status. They always had parties. They were on the top of everyone's list to just basically have at their events. They're pretty prominent figures. And what happened was, during one of their parties, there was a fire that broke out in the kitchen. Now, back in the 1800s, the French Quarter burnt down probably 5 or 6 times. And what's interesting is the fire department had to check each room of the house in order to make sure that there wasn't any embers, just to make sure that it wouldn't start a fire and burn down the French Quarter yet again. So it's just basically safety protocol. Mansion. They went through each room, and they finally found this one bolted room where it was all bricked in, and the fire department told the owner to knock the door down, yet he didn't. So basically what happened was they fought on it for a good 5 minutes, and then they knocked the door down, and what they described was just unimaginable. Apparently, the owner of the house was doing experiments on slaves that he had, and they were just really brutal, and the fire department basically called the cops at that point, and there was an angry mob that demanded justice because they knew that the cops would just show up and not really do what they should, because the couple had so much money and power that the government basically couldn't even touch them. So the angry mob flooded the house, and there was no one there. Shortly after, the carriage stores opened, and the couple came out on a carriage pulled by very fast horses. They got down to the river, and they were never seen or heard from again. 2 weeks later, what's really sad is people could hear screaming, and they thought the house was haunted, so no one would actually want to go into the house. Yet, the screams were not ghosts, they were people under the floorboards, but no one figured that out until maybe present day, when Nicolas Cage, the now owner of the house, was remodeling and took up the floorboards and found the bodies. The house was then sold by him because he got really freaked out, and it's been on the market ever since, and it's for sale. So that is the score of New Orleans, and it's pretty interesting, even though very sad. And there's just a lot of little facts like that about New Orleans that no one really knows about until you just do a little bit of research. So thank you.